Lock and Load podcast is sponsored by Lock and Load Firearms, Connecticut's #1 rated gun store and pistol permit class on Google. Come check us out, 1573 Meriden Waterbury Turnpike in Southington. Lock and Load Firearms.
Lock and Load podcast is also sponsored by Patriot Wear Holsters, custom-made Kydex holsters locally made in Waterbury, Connecticut. www.patriotwearholster.com and use code LNL podcast for 10% off your purchase. Orders available for shipping or pickup at various locations.
Welcome to Lock and Load podcast. My name is Josh.
And I'm Michelle.
And we're here to talk to you about Connecticut 2A issues. So today we got a small list for you. We haven't done a podcast in a hot minute. We've been busy, life, work. You guys have come in at least to my store a lot and had a lot of questions. So that's good. Mm-hmm. I've had customers come in now just because they've seen the podcast. So that was kind of cool.
Awesome.
So
I get them too.
That's nice.
Not as much as you, but yes.
We send them over there.
Yeah.
So first thing we're starting off with is assault weapon certificates. The questions I get on a weekly basis.
And you see it all over Facebook on every post, on every thread possible.
Yep. Every group forum, Reddit, at least once a week on Reddit. Facebook groups all over. What's going on with assault weapon certificates? When are they coming back? I submitted online. What did I do? I can't find it on there. The portal's not there. I mailed mine. Do they have it? Okay. So we have been told that any mailed in applications for the assault weapon certificates are being processed first because they did not receive a temporary number.
Correct.
And they are being processed slowly.
Correct.
How slow?
Slow. So it is now almost November, and let's think about this. We'll back up a little bit. The magazine certificates that everybody was research that we're able to go through at the end of last year, they are just now processing those. So when we say slow, it is slow. Okay.
It's a government agency.
Unfortunately, Connecticut legislators make new laws almost every year, and sometimes several in that year, and they don't change the financial funding for that department, nor do they hire extra people. They have their cap at what they are supposed to have, and if they're low, they hire, but it never expands. So on top of doing everything else up there, which many people don't understand, they do multiple things. It is not just your gun authorization numbers.
Yeah, special licensing and firearms unit.
Yep. They do
not
permits
just
for
firearms unit.
No, they do permits
guard
for
cards.
Guard cards for fireworks. Anything that's doing an event with fireworks, they're on that. They do any of the explosives and that kind of stuff, which I guess would fall under fireworks too. They do the renewals. They do the new permits.
Bond or bail enforcement too.
They have to go back
cards
on DP3s, which got out of hand, and they're still doing DP3s. Plus, they do a lot of other stuff with just background checks. So jobs, if certain people are asking for certain things, they have to do that stuff. And then there's a lot more that I don't know. And it's divided amongst the people that are there. Their jobs are to answer the phone, work the window for the new people. So they split their time there. And then everybody's given like an extra job, whether it be assault weapon certs or guard cards or security, whatever they need. Cause there's certain security guards need something else, not just a guard card. Maybe.
Yeah.
You have your LEOSA people that are looking at those things. So anything that has to do with any of those permitting, licensing, and firearms, explosives, all of that stuff is all done in this department. So I do know that they are working on the assault weapon certs. It's just a slow process because you're doing that. If the phones are busy up there, you don't have enough, as much time to sit and just do assault weapon after assault weapon. They don't have somebody sitting at a desk doing this 24 hours. So keep in mind if you sent it in the future, if you do stuff like this and you want to know if they have your paperwork,
certified mail return receipt requested.
And then you'll know that they have it and you have a record that they have it. Otherwise, you can assume they do have it. I do know that they went through anything that was not filled out properly, anything that was not legal, that right off the bat that they could tell right away. So the problem ones and that they went through, those have all been addressed.
Yeah, there's a kickback.
Correct. So now they're working on anything that came through and they're doing their approvals. So you will get it. But coming directly from SLFU, Josh and I both sat through a seminar with ATF and SLFU, and we were told if you did submit it, consider it pending. It's there. Consider it done until you hear differently.
So if you submitted it electronically, you have a temporary approval number.
Correct.
That was automatically generated, and they're considering that sent in. Not it's pending approval. But you've done everything you need to do. So
correct.
At least in my non-legal opinion, you can go and take these out to the range and go and shoot them.
Well, and I was told that if anybody asks you about it, all you have to do is say you have a pending certificate. They can no longer ask you any questions because it's pending. Once they come back and tell you we are done with everything, if you did submit it and you didn't get one back, that would be a time in which to call SLFU and try to get that taken care of. Or if you didn't submit anything, know that was now you can no longer play that. I have a pending one. So those are the things that you need to know. But as of right now, as long as you did your certificates, don't worry about it. It's not, I see literally, if not every day, at least 3 or 4 times a week in different posts. Anybody know anything about the assault weapons? Yeah. It's pending. It's the same as it was before. And it's not going to change. And the more times you ask, it still doesn't change it.
Stop asking people on the internet too. Okay.
Well,
go to gun stores that or places that know what they're talking about, because we talk to people in the department or lawyers or I guess really those are the two options. And we get the answers because or
we do our own research.
We do our own research. Or I'll just call and ask. Like when I don't know something, like I had a question the other day with a military ID. I just called the state and asked. Like, hey, this is what the issue is. Can I do this or no? A
lot of stores just want to tell you whatever they heard. And again, they've heard it on the internet too. Cause if it's on the internet, it must be true. So they're not.
Wait, does that make us not true then? Cause this is on the internet.
Possibly they'd have to come see us in person. Yeah.
That's a lot of work.
Well,
they have to drive.
Yeah. And we are on Facebook.
The election's around the corner too.
Oh, we're going to get there.
Yeah. That's our last part of this. So assault weapon certificates still pending. The paper ones are getting approved first, and the electronic ones will get approved sometime before 2030.
We hope.
That was a joke, but it might not have been either.
They are still working on DP3s from 2020. So, just saying.
Well, moving on. This is another post I saw on a group page asking about not small shops. Screw it. They're asking about Cabela's and Bass Pro. I don't care.
Bada bing,
Stop
bing.
shopping at Cabela's and Bass Pro, guys, for guns. Support your local stores. I'm not even just saying me or Michelle.
In general,
right? Shop local. Don't go to a place where it's going to take you 2 hours to complete a firearms transaction. That is ridiculous. Don't go to a place where you have to take a number like you're at a deli counter. Go to small local shops. They're all over the state.
Well, and you go to the larger shops, and a lot of them, they work guns one day and they work in apparel the next day, and then they work in hardware the next day. So do you really know? Do they know what they're talking about?
They don't.
Because you can go someplace that actually knows what it's, what they're talking about as far as the firearm that you're looking at.
And you're going to get the paperwork done quicker.
Yes.
I'm sorry. People that have, and I'm not going to name any of the small businesses, but they've come in and they're like, oh, it took me an hour to go buy a gun over here. And you're in and out of here in 10, 15 minutes. we have everything done on the computer.
It all depends. There are times even when the state's slow,
right? The state has issues or something, and there's background check issue. I get that. Or the store's super busy. I get that too. But
there can be a wait, but it doesn't have to be every single time.
Yeah, and that amount of wait is ridiculous too.
Well, and okay, we're going there. So Cabela's.
2 hours. I bought a gun at Cabela's a long time ago before I had a.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know. And it was a Beretta M922. I ended up using it for classes for a while. I had some Cabela points I racked up, right? So I was like, oh, I'll go there.
Yep. Get
better credit cards.
Well, no, if you have points, you can get it for free and you don't mind waiting around. I can see that part. I can.
I was like the third customer. Okay. Cause I got there when they opened. 2 hours and 12 minutes.
That wasn't during COVID,
no,
though, right?
That was COVID didn't exist yet. It didn't.
So all leaked. Of this was much easier back then.
Yeah.
Well, there
was my third gun, second gun, third gun.
I know for a fact Cabela's as a business, so from corporate, has extra policy in place versus just what the state law requires. So some of the stuff they do takes time because that's internal policy. There's nothing you can do to get around it. That's part of going and shopping at that store. So 2 hours, 12 minutes. It's not worth my time. No, I don't agree with it. But, but if people, some people want to. The other side of the coin is when you do stuff like that, because you can get it for $10 cheaper. Okay. Because really, we're not talking massive amounts of money most of the time. Okay. So $10 cheaper, you can get it. But $10, is that worth your time? Is it worth, all the hoops you have to go through there, talking to somebody who really doesn't know what they're talking about? And on the other side, when you're not supporting your locals, and yes, we're locals. Okay. So we're talking about us, but when you don't support us, we don't have business. If we don't have business, we end up having to close doors after time. And I see small businesses, whether it be gun stores or not, go out of business all the time.
I think there's 5 this year that I have on my phone.
It's because we're not supporting them, and people don't understand. They're like, well, and I know the economy sucks. Okay. Believe me, I know it as well as anybody else, but $10, $15, by the time you get done paying, your transaction fees and everything else, if you have it, the worst is shipping it from online.
I was just going to get into that actually. The online sales guys, and I understand sometimes there's really good deals. I get that. Check with your stores first. Yes. I have taught a lot of my customers that. Hey, if you find something on there, check with me first. Maybe I can match it. Maybe I can come really close to it. Maybe I can't even come close. That happens, right? Because they buy 1,000 of them and they get them $100 cheaper. But then you got to pay shipping.
Yeah.
And then you got to pay transfer fees. My transfer fees went up $5 a couple months ago.
A lot of stores did.
And it's time, it's paperwork, it's ink, it's employees,
employee time. Yep.
I got to make $1, right?
I see it all the time. When I used to work in a gun store, it was all the time. You'd see somebody and you'd look at the price and they'd know what we had it on sale, in the case for, and literally they were off by $10, $15. Some of them were $50. And I get it. Okay. $50 you can start looking at that. But once you pay that $50 and then you save the $50, you come into the store, you're paying anywhere from $25 to $50 or more per transfer. And depending on the store that you go to, you've just blown your $50. And then you had to wait for that gun to be shipped and get to you, where you could just walk in, support the local guy. And the reason there is such a difference in costs, which some people don't understand, is the buying power. The small guy does not get these fantastic prices because they're not locking themselves into $50,000 with each manufacturer. Yeah. So they can only buy what they can buy. So they're buying at the regular distributor cost. They're not getting those higher breaks. So that plays a role into prices too. People think it doesn't matter. It does.
Something you might not even know. So I'm a regular wholesaler guy, right? So I have 6 wholesale accounts. Lipsy's, RSR are my two mains.
Mhm.
There's a difference on Canucks between, and I'm talking $20-$30 between those two wholesalers.
On every gun.
Yeah.
There's differences with different prices
Like
on
Glocks,
accessories.
Glocks
Everything.
are the same, SIGs are the same for the most part, but like Canucks, and I'm like, what that? Like Lipsy's is cheaper with Canucks.
Really?
Yeah, and I'm like, I have no idea why. It makes no sense because I spend about the same amount of money with both wholesalers, so it's not like a tier system or anything.
Right.
It's not like I'm getting a better rate or anything.
Well,
Davidson's is more expensive too, and I'm not like throwing these guys under the bus. Some of them have really good deals and stuff, and some charge shipping. Lipsy's and RSL don't charge me shipping at all.
Right.
Davidson's charges $15 flat shipping.
Well, and like you're lucky.
South Sports, I have to hit $1,500 on an order, and then it's free shipping.
But you also use several distributors. There's a lot of stores out there that do not.
Yep,
they're
one.
Locked into only one or two,
or they're in a buy group.
Correct. So they can only look at a certain, like you get the variety. You can price check everything. Like if we were going to go online and shop for something, he can do that as a business. But if I only belong to one.
I did that. So like, when we got that payout, when I was reordering things, there were some stocking dealer programs going on, and there's some sales on this wholesaler that like I got HKs from one wholesaler because they were running a deal. Right. And then I got FNs from another wholesaler because they were running a deal. Then I did my Smith & Wesson stocking dealer through another wholesaler because that was that deal.
That was the best price.
So yeah, those were the best prices at the time, which was nice because like a lot of them run them either like a day or two different time or like a week or two off.
Right.
RSR and Lipsy's, again, they compete all the time with each other. Like one of them will do a SIG week, and then the week after they'll do us another SIG week.
Well, and each distributor is also, they usually have a specific that they're really good for. Like RSR is always good for accessories
and ammo.
Right. And they have a really good variety and everything.
They're, I think, the number one for accessories. I was just talking to my rep about that today, actually.
That's why I went with RSR, because I do mostly just the weapon lights and all that kind of stuff. So
where like Lipsy's carries that stuff, but Lipsy's does a ton more guns.
Right.
Like I'm doing my sales with Lipsy's, 90% of them are firearms or serialized items.
Yep.
Where probably only about 50, maybe 60% is RSR, is like firearms, split between ammo and accessories. So like it's cool to shop around though. Like I had a guy, he was looking for I think it was last week, a specific Colt. Once I found the specific model number, which I'm going to bring up here, then I was able to copy paste it, log into all my, I think it was 5 accounts, and boop, 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 boop. 1, 2, 3, and 4 didn't have it, but 5 had it in stock.
Well, so you do it for me.
And then ordered it that way, and boom, there you go. On that though, Michelle said I can't go down a rabbit hole here. When you call a store, and I'm going to use a Canik MC9 for an example, you're like, hey, how much is a Canik MC9? Canik MC9s, there's a Lipsy exclusive, RSR exclusive, South Sports exclusive. Then you have the black, the half black and half tan, and the all tan. Then you have all of those SKUs without an optic and with an optic.
Correct.
So that is a dozen-ish SKUs right there. So when you say, oh, well, this one's black, it's $439. Or this one's black, it's $629. Like there's differences. So if you guys are asking for prices, call up your store, ask, that's totally fine. We give them over the phone. I'll answer messages on Facebook. I won't publicly comment on Facebook because Facebook doesn't like that, but DMs will answer. And if you're looking for a specific gun, make sure you give the UPC, which is the long barcode number, or the SKU of that gun, so we can give you that right answer and not like, oh, I told you it was $900, but actually it was only $850 because like I thought you wanted the compact, not the full size, or I thought you wanted the gray one, not the black one.
You're doing apples to apples versus apples to oranges.
So I didn't go down a rabbit hole there, right?
No, you did good. Okay. You did good. I just didn't want it getting too nutty, but it's true. Know what you're looking for, and it's hard.
And if you don't, that's fine. Come into the store, handle the guns, guys. That's what they're here for. That's what we're here for. I have no problem showing people that stuff.
And if you don't have it, you'll always look it up and you can order them.
Yep.
So it's not, some stores do not do special orders. I know that. Some stores, it's harder to do a special order. And then there's others that are super easy. Josh is a super easy. You come in, you tell them what you want.
I like making money.
Well, it's not just that,
And
too. It's
turnaround time is like 2 or 3 days.
right. On a handgun, yes. Long guns take about a week, I think.
It depends on the wholesaler.
Okay.
RSR, most of the stuff is here in 2 days, no matter what.
They're fantastic.
Lipsy's, maybe an extra day if it comes freight.
Okay.
But honestly, so I tell everyone, I'm like 2 to 3 business days, not including weekends. And then I'm like, if it's ordered on Monday, it'll probably be ready for you by Thursday.
Well, and if you can order it right away, you get it in right away. You have a happy customer. You guys are happy. He's happy. And then it means, you can always come back and ask more questions. Customer service on our side, on the business side, is huge and important.
Yeah.
And that's something that we both in our separate businesses strive to do, and be able to help you out with whatever you're looking for. And if we can't, we can usually guide you in a direction in which you would be able to get it taken care of.
Order another store too. Like, guy called up the other day. It was he was looking to sell some like hunting rifles. I don't really do that here. I sent him to Sportsman Outpost up in Wolcott. I have never, guy's name is Mike, I believe, who owns it. I have never met Mike in my life.
He's a good guy.
I have never been in that store. Every time I've driven by it, it's been closed. It was like on a Sunday at 4:00.
He's a good
and
guy.
I've heard good things. He has sent people here for like others in the past. I guess they didn't do that many. And so while I have never met you, Mike, if you're watching this, thanks for the business. And I throw it your way all the time too. But like stuff I don't do, I'll send to another store, or to a range or wherever. Holsters, especially, like I carry the common stuff from you, but the other day, Monday, right?
Yeah.
What did he buy?
And talk about customer service. I wasn't even in the shop.
Yeah, you were off that day.
He bought a Smith & Wesson.
That was the metal
M&P 9 2.0 comp.
Yeah, the 4.2
so the
inch.
Aluminum frame.
Yep.
And we literally weren't in the office, and
he got the permit that day.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So his permit was fresh, right? It was warm from
Still
Middletown. He went to 4 other stores, found me on Google, number one rated gun store on Google. We're almost at 1,000 reviews. I'm like 992 right now.
That's freaking awesome.
I know, we're almost there. And came in, he's like, shows me a picture of the gun. I was like, oh yeah, I just put that in the case yesterday. Pull it out. Here you go. He's like, I'll take it. He's like, do you have a holster? I'm like, no. But I just talked to Michele the other day, and she does. Let me call her. And it was early, so I called Matt, because I figured Michele wasn't going to be awake yet. I mean, this is like,
I was awake.
This was like 10:20 in the morning.
I was
we
awake.
just opened. Maybe it was 11 because he went to some other stores, he said.
I may not be in the shop at that point, but I was awake.
And you guys weren't there, but you were on your way back. And I was like, they're on their way back. They can meet you. And I guess he went over there.
Yeah. He came over. He was perfectly happy, got everything he needed. And that's what I like with us. We have a great working, relationship. I send people to him. He sends people to me, but it's not just because we do this. Like, we actually believe in each other's businesses too. There's a lot of different stores out there, and there are a lot of good stores out there. There are a few that I don't like and necessarily shop in. I don't get the right vibe. I'm one that I want a certain vibe when I walk through a door.
Well, and like the professional aspect and the customer service aspect.
Yes.
There's a big enough pie for everyone.
Yes.
Right. That's not what I don't think either of us is saying here, but if you're going to be an ass hat, okay, go do that.
Yep.
It's probably not going to work in the long run. And then I see the people that associate with those people, and then it gives me kind of a stigma, unfortunately. But if you're nice to me, I'm nice to you. And if you're not.
Well, and I don't know. I like me with, as far as a small business, obviously we're small. It's my husband and I. But business wise, we have a big reach.
Hey, you have like 1 employee now, right?
Part-time.
Yeah, assembler.
Kind of when he can, he stops in and
per
helps.
diem.
Yeah.
Okay, she has 1 per diem employey. Maybe.
Every once in a while I get one here and there because we get busy, and then when we're slow down or they decide to go do something else, which happens. But I like when a customer comes in and I can give them spend the time to give them exactly what they're looking for. And I think that is goes a long way. Because I know if I walked into a store and somebody was willing to take a little bit of time versus look at their clock and, there's some stores you walk into and if you don't look like you're not buying right then and there,
they ignore you.
They either ignore you or they push you along and they move you out of the way and get the next guy. I am one where I've had people, I've literally spent an hour and a half talking about belts, holsters, foundations, how to make all of it work. And they've walked out of the shop without buying a thing. I know they'll be back.
It does hurt the soul a little bit.
Yeah. But you know what? I know they're going to come back.
They normally do.
Some people just need to have,
or they eventually
to
will.
Correct.
There was this. I think he might watch this podcast too. I can't think of his name off the top of my head. It was, a little older gentleman. He took the pistol permit class. It was on a Tuesday. There were only 3 people in class, which is very small for me.
Those are my classes.
Yeah.
Hey.
And then so he got his permit. I think he was from Southington or right around here. So like normal time. And then wanted to do some one-on-one classes. Josh doesn't have time for those. Josh doesn't have time for himself. So I pawned those off to Brooke Cheney, or Frank Serpo. And he ended up going to Frank. And so Frank met him at Wolf's. I think they did like 2 one-on-one sessions. And I was kind of pushing the guy to Smith & Wesson Easy. Older guy, kind of arthritic-like hands. I don't know if he had arthritis or anything, but that's kind of what that gun is made for.
Okay.
And
a 380 or a 9?
I think I was pushing either one. I mean, is the 380 is definitely lighter.
It's the easy model is what you're looking at.
Yeah, but the easy model
concept.
Honestly, I think he ended up going with the Glock 19. And because he shot the easy because Wolf says that to rent.
Yep.
And I think Frank probably had some stuff with him too.
Mm-hmm.
And went through and he found he could rack the Glock 19 and found it more comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what he ended up buying. But he was in and out of the store, like, I'm not kidding, 6 times, asking different questions and everything.
That's awesome though.
And then eventually he pulled the trigger. There we go.
Ding,
Good
ding.
pun. Hold on. There we go. We said we were going to use that today, guys.
We did.
And, I probably haven't seen him like a month. So I'm taking that as a good sign.
Yeah. Maybe he'll be back. He'll need ammo or something.
Just because I haven't seen him doesn't mean like Brian or Nick hasn't seen him.
That is true. That is true. But no, see, that's good when they can come in and look at things and not feel like I've literally walked into stores and wanted to look at stuff and I've walked out feeling like I annoyed them because I didn't buy. That's never a feeling you want to leave a customer with. Ever.
So like Mondays and Tuesdays, depending on how busy I am, I'll either have I've had Allison here lately, Brian's daughter. She works like part-time here.
Mm-hmm.
Come in like 12 to 4 or something. But like sometimes like I'm in the middle, I have my like little standing desk in my office and I'm putting in guns and somebody comes in, I'm like, hey, how can I help you? Oh, just looking around. Oh, cool. Okay. Let me know if you want to see anything. Right. And then I'll let it, and they'll look in the cases, they'll look in the cases. Right. And
then you touch base a little while later.
Yep. A couple minutes later, you want to see anything? You still good? I'm just doing some paperwork in here. Nope. Good. Just still looking. And then they move to another case. And then, once they start hovering around one case, then I pop out and I'm like, you want to see anything in there? And then they're normally like, yeah, I want to see this one.
Yeah.
And they're waiting for me to ask again. Yeah. But like it gives them that opportunity, especially on a slow day, like a Monday or Tuesday, especially Tuesdays here. Just nobody bugging them. I'm not hovering, right? I have my own stuff I got to do in the back.
Well, when you go shopping, like there's a difference between being rude that you're not going to buy and you're just looking. And then there's the guy who hovers. Yeah. Like I like that happy medium.
Well, that's why I have music on all the time.
Yes.
Because like if I'm just sitting there on the computer and maybe I'm looking at prices for different guns or checking out what's available, but like, and you're just looking cases and stuff, it's still just, I feel like there's an awkward tension there.
Silence can be a very awkward. Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
So there's always some sort of music on in here. Mm-hmm. Good old Alexa.
It couldn't have to do with the fact that you're also a music guy, right?
I do like music, but
yeah, you do.
I use it as background noise too. I mean, I put on one specific station and then when Brian shows up, he changes it all the time. It's because he's old.
Their music war is fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I've turned it off when I'm not here. Anyways, last thing.
Yes.
Tuesday, November
5th.
Dun, 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 is the 5th.
It is the 5th.
I have a pistol permit class that day, and I have to go volunteer at the pole from 6 to 8. So If you're watching this and you're in that pistol permit class, you're going to get an email. It's starting at 9 instead of 8. Or Todd's coming, one or the other.
Somebody's going to be there.
But election is coming up. This video is coming out a couple days before that. So
cool.
Go out and vote.
You got to vote, guys. I know we hammer this home almost every time we have a podcast, and it probably is like, wah, wah, stop talking to us. But at the end of the day, he's going to do it. Yes, there you go. This is
what I feel like.
That's what we get back. And, it's been all over the place. They've been posting it up. There are, I believe in Connecticut, like 60,000 non-registered people, gun owners who are non started. Yes, I should have. Sorry. So gun owners who are unregistered and are not voting. Now, that to me hurts my soul. I just have to put that out there. It's painful. My thought process, and I'll share this with you because maybe it'll resonate with you. Maybe it won't. It's up to you. My thought process is if I'm going to bitch and complain about the laws that Connecticut has on gun control,
I better go vote.
I have to vote because then I have a right to bitch. I've put my foot where my mouth is and I've had a say. Now, not to say that I don't feel discouraged most of the time because we live in this lovely blue state. And it is, every election, every once in a while we'll get a little win and we're like, yay, but most of the time it's rather disappointing. But if you just give up and say, oh, it's not worth it, you haven't had a voice. You didn't even try to have a voice. And now you want to complain in the gun stores to yourselves on Facebook and everywhere else about these horrible gun laws.
My first question when HB 8 and 7 was passed was, hey, do you vote? No. Why would he do that?
Right. We don't even get to testimony.
Get out.
Yeah, no, we don't even talk about testimony. We can't even get to the polls. And we've said it before. Many
you have like
districts.
15 days to vote now with early voting.
I know.
So what's your excuse?
No excuse. And you can register right up until that day, I believe, right?
Yep. Yeah. In Connecticut, you can, yeah.
So there is no excuse not to. It literally only takes a few minutes out of your day. And they're open from 6 a.m. until 8 p.m. That's 14 hours.
That doesn't include early voting.
Correct.
Where, at least in Southington, I believe there's 2 specific days where they're open because they're kind of like regular business hours. But then there's 2 days where they're like longer. They open a lot earlier and they close a lot later. It's all at the town hall.
I was driving around yesterday. I was out on the motorcycle and I was down on the shore going out to Rhode Island. So anywhere between Old Westbrook, Old Saybrook, Mystic, Groton. And I don't know what town it was, but they had a big sign that yesterday was one of their early voting walk-in days. So they're doing it all, already. It's just one of those things where it hurts because we can't change anything unless we can change the legislators.
Yep.
And you may think it's hopeless. I get it. But we got to try because if we don't try, we've automatically lost. So try.
I'll close on this. I went to Southington's Chamber of Commerce debate. So they invited the 4 reps that cover Southington, which is mostly the 81st district, which is between Chris Poulos, who won by 1 single vote, who voted for HB 6667. He's running against Jim Morelli, who is on town council, who is a member of the Southington Sportsmen, the private club that's on Mount Vernon.
Yeah. Up there by the ski lodge.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's the same street, but yeah.
Okay.
So Pro 2A, they're the 81st district. So that's most of Southington. Then you had Gail Manifacesco.
Yep.
Did I get that right?
Yep.
Hey. Gail did really good. Gail does some Southington, most of Wolcott.
Yes.
You had Donna Veach, who's my rep for my house. She does most of Berlin, some of Southington. And then you had Frances Cooley, who does most of Plainville, Selma Southington against, I think, Rebecca Martinez, who is very left on the political scale. Francis never met him before, heard his name before. He is CCDL endorsed. I believe he is a CCDL endorsement. Actually, I don't think he's just pro too. I think
he's running for Senate.
No, he's House.
House, okay.
And
against Gail.
No, against
so different area. Yeah. Okay.
Gail is running unopposed, and so is Donna. They're running completely unopposed.
Okay.
Francis is the incumbent Republican out of Plainville, and Rebecca Martinez is the Democrat running against him. So I've never heard either of them speak before. Francis used to be, I guess, a college dean. Mm-hmm. And so you could have submitted, if you live in Southington or Plainville, any of these districts could have come if you lived in their district, and you could have submitted questions. The only gun question that was submitted happened to be between Poulos and Jim Morelli. So that was interesting. And so I thought Francis was very well spoken while I don't live in his district. Very interesting.
Francis was the college
dean.
Yep. Very odd. And he's
very educated. Yeah, pro 2A. And then of course Rob Sampson, our state senator, and he's running against Chris Robertson. I did not think Chris did a good job at all. I thought Rob did a great job.
Of course Rob did. It's Rob.
Rob's problem, and he said this prior to and after, is that his job is to talk a lot in the Senate.
Yes.
So they had time limits. And they had like little cards that came up, a 15-second warning, and then like you had to stop. And Rob did really good though. He condensed. He only, I think, went over like twice. Rob is a very well-spoken person.
He is.
Chris Robertson,
not so much.
He yelled into the mic, and I'm like louder than that, like screaming into the mic his points. And I'm like,
that's
yeah. He I don't know. Democrats clapped for him every time.
Well, yeah, because it's party. Yeah. You know, I shouldn't say that. I'm party line too because I'm 2A. Like I even if I don't know who that person is, I don't off my Republican line now. I'm done.
Yeah, a pretty party line. There's people I just won't vote for though. And I won't vote for the other person, but I'm just not going to vote for them.
There are a couple there, but I've come to years ago, it was like I would be all over the place because it really depended on the issue and what their position was and what kind of power, for lack of a better word, what kind of influence they would have over that issue. I have done this long enough. I have been playing with politicians and talking to politicians and working on campaigns and just getting into that aspect so much with legislation that I have come to the conclusion I don't care. It's all I'm just right across the board. I don't care who you are. You get my vote because the other side, I can't do it.
Yeah.
And I don't want to give the others, if no vote gives them an upper hand. So
I am going to seriously try to get, I want to get Donna on here after the election's done. Right. So like once she's, so maybe sometime in December or something. I'd like to try to get Gail on here. Yeah. I've only talked to Gail a few times.
She's a good
and I'm sure she has no idea who I am, and that's totally fine. I'm not in her district at all. So
she's a cool woman. But
her and Rob were very close together. So I'd like to get Rob back on here too when he wins his reelection. Mm-hmm.
It's good to get him in between after they take a small break. Get him real quick.
Maybe Francis, shoot a message, see what he says.
It'll have to be the end of December.
Yeah, January. Before they go into session.
Yeah.
So that'd be kind of cool, just to touch base, talk about gun rights, see how they stand.
That works.
And then the 81st. I have a prediction, but we'll just leave that to ourselves. I do wish the Pro 2A side.
Poulos voted for HB 6667. Remember
Poulos
that.
Anti-gun. So I didn't want to go down this rabbit hole, but why not? Some of you are still watching, some of you aren't. I want to get this clip, and if I get this clip in time, I'm going to make a separate video on this. So you may see it beforehand, you may not. Chris compared gun rights to driving a car.
What?
Yeah. So like take a class, do the hours with the instructor, go and get your license, and then go and operate. Like the motor vehicle, right? Last time I checked, there was nothing about a motor vehicle in the Constitution.
No. I mean, I've had it likened to a CDL driver's license, which I don't agree with. I've had it likened to, believe it or not, nurses' licenses.
Last time I checked, there's nothing about driving a car in the Constitution or any other license of that aspect.
Well, because we're trying to compare a privilege
to a right.
To a right.
That's exactly what he was doing. And I was very much annoyed when I heard that. So that's what I'll leave you at, guys. Get out there and vote. And vote for Pro 2A candidates.
Please go out and vote.
ccdl.us. And then under candidate ratings, you can check how your reps and state senators vote on 2A issues.
And if you have a friend who does not vote, get them to register. There's QR codes on CCDL's page where you can go right in and register. And then if it gets too close, I don't know what the cutoff date is.
Cutoff date is too past it. You have to do it in person.
Okay. So, never mind. No QR code. So you have to just go in person. But again, that takes seconds.
Probably minutes, but
okay, minutes. Doesn't take a long time.
You know, it'll be less than it will be getting your Starbucks coffee.
Oh yeah, easily. Yes. All right.
I think Michelle goes to Starbucks too much.
No, I hate Starbucks.
Oh, Dunkin'. Same thing. Even worse. All right. My name's Josh.
And I'm Michelle.
And we'll see you guys next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.